exciting 2024 Coaches Show. Coach, this is semifinal week, and we're going to talk a little bit about who we've matched up against for the semifinals, but we want to step back that week before Thanksgiving. It's been unusual. I don't know if the players felt it. I know I personally felt it. This break, I kind of liked it, but it's just different.
Right. Yeah. So, no, I think we got it right. And we definitely benefited from the week off and getting some rest and getting an early start on Del City. But, more than anything, I just felt like as a coaching staff and as players, I think we did a really good job of handling something that's different.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 9th year in a row that we've done POTD, getting to practice during Thanksgiving break, but this is the first time we've had an off game or an off week during this week. And so, but our kids handled it well. I really do feel like we got it right as far as the schedule went, how we did things. We backed off a little bit and tried to really give our guys a chance to get their legs back, get their bodies as good as you can get them this time of year. Monday or Tuesday of last week that everybody, the way that they're feeling, everybody in the state of Oklahoma that's still playing this late, everybody feels the same. You're never going to be feeling as good as you were on day one of fall camp. So,
right.
But our guys did a good job of being here, being present, being focused and dialed in, and now we get the actual week of game prep this week.
Well, I know that just that time off, it's very unusual for us to get 4 days off, but I know that had to have been good for legs and just healing up some bruises and sore bodies. And so I think it is possibly going to make for a better semifinal game for all the players around the state that are actually doing that.
Right, yeah. No, I think if you ask any of our guys, they definitely, after last week, there was you kind of got to take a breath too and exhale for once. We've been going and getting that week off right there. Earlier in the summer, whenever that came out, I wasn't really sure how that how that was going to work or what that was going to look like. And I think that we're very fortunate and very lucky that we can actually look at that and think like we do. It's something that we do here where we expect to be in that game. And so there's a lot of people that just kill to be there.
Right.
And so when it first came out, though, I remember thinking, I don't know if I like that. We went back and forth. We talked to the OSSAA about it and just trying to figure out what the mindset was behind it. But now that we're here, just very thankful to be playing in the semifinals, just like everybody else who's still playing feels the same way. And I think with the way it works now with having 12 state championship games, you have to have 2 weekends. And so this wasn't a bad way to do it now that we've been there. And so. But like I said, I think we got it right. I think our schedule was good. I think it really helped us get a start on the opponent this week, and I think it really gave our guys a chance to, take a breath and get their bodies right, heal up, and hopefully have a really good Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Well, Claremore came to town, and we did what we had to do for that Claremore game. Came out with the victory pretty well. Shut them down in all 3 parts of the football game. They did come back. They never quit fighting, and they are a proud team with a good tradition.
Yep.
And they happen to be the only 5A team that even came close to our opponent this next week, Del City, and that was a 34-14 final.
Yep.
And so. Tell us a little bit about that game and how we came out of that and who the players were that you thought really stood out.
Yeah, so first and foremost, really, really proud of our guys and just the effort that they played with throughout the entire game. We jumped out on them and got out on them pretty fast and, threw a big punch and continued to punch throughout the entire first half. And we had a little bit of hiccup there at the very end. We've been talking about how well we've been playing that last 2 minutes of the first half, and we had a little bit of a hiccup and, things that we got it in a game, and it's something that we got to talk about, and it's a learnable moment. And so it was something that we got to put on film, and then we got to talk about it and go through those situations more with our offense. We should have at least got 3 out of that last drive when we called timeouts, got the ball back, defense got a really good stop, and we made them punt to us, which we always feel good about our punt return, and we made them punt to us, and then we drove the ball all the way down to the 5-yard line and just kind of sputtered out right there. But we should at least have had 3 out of that. So
Right.
I would say that was really, in the first half, that was probably the only hiccup. I thought we played really, really good football. We came out in the second half, and I think these guys will tell you, we kept saying, hey, we're going to know exactly how they feel about this game, Claremore, with how they approach this kickoff.
That's
we said,
right.
they're going to kick an onside. And, you know, that's what we would do. They're going to kick an onside. They're going to continue to fight. And they came out and they hit us with a little dribbler, and we didn't get on it. And then they went trick play, and they got a couple penalties, and then they ran a couple. I mean, they emptied the playbook on that
Right.
first drive, and
Right.
they got a score. And you know, just like the rest of these games earlier in the year, when something happened to us, adversity, we got scored on, whatever it was, I was really, really, really proud of our guys with how we responded. They kick off to us on the next kickoff, and we return it for a touchdown.
Right.
Todd James, just a great effort by everybody involved on our return team, and that thing opened up. Todd hit it, and you know that was a thing of beauty. But
A huge momentum killer for Claremore.
absolutely, yeah, because you know you could feel it that they were in it. You know, when they felt really good about the way they came out in the second half and threw a big punch and they score, and their crowd was way into it, and you know, hats off to them. You know, Coach Hurt, there's a lot of people that would have just said, hey, you know what, we're going to go out there, we're going to run the ball, and we're going to get out of it. But that wasn't their approach. They kicked the onside, they got their crowd back into it and revved up, and their crowd traveled really well. And you know, it was a really good atmosphere all in all. But you know, a lot of credit to Coach Hurt and to his kids. And I was talking to some of their guys throughout the game when we were kicking off to them. And number 9, I think his name is Trip Jackson. Really good player, and he was a really good kid. And I saw he committed to NEO the other day, so I don't know if he'll see this, but congrats to him. But you know, they were scrappy, they were tough, they were hard nosed, they were well coached. It was everything that we thought they were going to be. And you know, talking to other teams that have played them this year, it was exactly what they said. You know, they said that's not a team that you take lightly, and our kids did not take them lightly. You know, and so in the second half, when we had that little hiccup, but then responded with the kickoff return, and then we just kind of took off. I mean, we played really, really good in the second half. I thought offensively we really shoved the ball. Offensive line played really good, played really tough. Receivers, big games. Devin had a big game, and so you know it was fun. And our defense played really, really good all night long. It was the one drive there that obviously they had a little bit of help with 30 yards of penalties,
Right.
Which were effort plays. You know, things that were, you know, not completely out of our control, but things where our guys were playing hard and just, you know, had a couple of mistakes there. But, you know, so hats off, offense, defense, special teams, everybody was involved in that win. And it's hard to do. Second round of playoffs, we
Right.
always said that's a really tough game because you're going to play somebody over there from the east side that either took second or third in a couple of really good districts. And so, you know, Claremore was a 9-win team and had, like you said, played Dale City really tough and played a lot of people really tough. And so, you know, hats off to Coach Hurt again, and credit to them. But really proud of our guys for going out playing tough. Players of the game. We'll talk players of the game.
Yep.
So offensively, we again, I say it every week, but a number of guys that could have been this, but we went with our senior wide receiver, Trinae Washington. Trinae had 4 catches for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns and made some big plays. One was on 4th down. One of his touchdowns was a 4th down catch. That was a tough catch to make, and he did. So Trinae played great, both sides. Defensively, our guy Caden Davis had 20 tackles, had 2 sacks. I think he had 3 TFLs, but he was all over the field.
He was.
You know, got to play a full game. We haven't got to play a lot of full games. I think he came out maybe for the last series or 2, but you know, that's something last year when we had more of those games where he played 4 quarters. He was, you know, averaging 18, 19 tackles a game. And so that was one of those, it was kind of a throwback to last year, and just, it was the reminder of what he can do when he gets to play 4 quarters. Special teams, we went with Todd James, kickoff return for a touchdown, but that whole unit, kickoff return, could have been on there. Our kickoff team played really, really well, pinned them down inside the 20 a couple times. For our linemen, we could have went with any of our offensive linemen. Our D-line played really, really well. But we went with our 2 sophomore guards, Kalen Smith and Elijah Esparza, 2 guys that have grown up big time for us and are playing really good football right now. Caden Davis a guy that we talked about quite a bit, being that he was the player of the week or the lineman of the week before against Midwest City. But Caden had another really good game playing tackle, and he played. He did some on defense. He had 3 sacks. So, anytime you can get 3 sacks from an interior defensive lineman, that's
Right.
That's big time. So Caden is stepping up, playing a big way, just like all the rest of the D line. Our big hit, we went with, it was a physical football game.
Yeah.
We had some big hits. Marcus had a big hit on one of the kickoff returns. Trystan came up in support, on run support a couple of times, had some hits, and Caden had some big hits. But we went with, on the very first kickoffs, we talked about setting the tone. On the very first kickoff, Dan Newton flew down the field, and he hit one of their guys in the wedge and just obliterated him, knocked him down, knocked him backwards. He was one of those ones where he's in the air for a little bit. And so Dan kind of set the tone there and played really well on special teams for us. Scout team, we had 2 guys that we went with last week, 2 guys that give us a look on both sides of the ball. Doing it again this week and last week over Thanksgiving, did a great job for us. But we went with sophomore Bo Davis, tight end, linebacker for us, and then Jake Farley. Jake always does a great job for us on both sides of the ball, giving us a look at as a wide receiver and as a DB. So just a big week for everybody involved. You can't win in the playoffs unless everybody's involved and locked in. And last, 2 weeks ago, it seems like forever ago, but our guys were really locked in that week, and that's what it's going to take this week to get another one.
All right. Well, we've made it to the semifinals, and it is against the Del City Eagles, just across the town here, and they've had a good season. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Del City Eagles, but we're going to have the opportunity to talk to 2 of our senior athletes here in just a moment on the 2024 Carl Albert Titan Coaches Show.
Trystan Haynes, cornerback, Carl Albert High School, Midwest City, Oklahoma. Navy All-American.
I just want to thank the All-American game for presenting me with this opportunity to compete against the best players from across the country. I'm blessed, and I want to thank God as well, because without him I know I wouldn't be the man I am today or the person I am today. And I want to thank my family, my teammates, my coaches, everybody that has supported me along this journey, because without them I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be the person I am today, and I just want to say that I'm grateful for the opportunity to compete. Young and I've been had to shoot out some money all under my bed. 2018 coming me and I made a career and I'm 30 years. I wanna put Meriton on the tent, I wanna see the reflection. I'm the best dressed at the net. We never had dressed, but now I'm dressed. Tell me to flex. Look at the check, I got my chest. Tryna look better on my pics. I know they come use me for sex. I know they don't wanna catch. Got one-on-one ice on the gym. One-on-one pull up with 10s. One-on-one never again. One get the cake and the butter. I count it like hustle the money all in. Rhyme in the town in the drop top coupe in the motor in the trunk.
Welcome back to the Carl Albert Titan 2024 Coaches Show. Today we have Caden Davis and Trystan Haynes, and we're excited to have them with us as we talk about what's coming up, what the season has been like, and just a little bit. You guys are coming into your semifinal game, and we talked about it even before the cameras were rolling, but we just play one game at a time, and but it's okay to look back. So give us a little bit of an idea of what this senior season has been for you 2 guys.
I feel like it's been a really good senior season for us. We've really been able to bond with our teammates, and we've grown a lot throughout the season. And I feel like we're just really coming along throughout the farther the season goes along, and we're in the best spot we can be right now for ourselves.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. We're already so close to the group, like doing everything through track and like all of our time here. So just getting, more of a chance to get closer with the guys that we've grown up with and stuff has just been pretty special. So, we've put ourselves in a pretty good spot for this game.
All right. I know you're looking forward to this game, and, they have a great talent base over there at Del City, and we know what we're expecting to see. We've seen it before. What do you expect to see in this game, and what are you getting prepared for?
We all know that they have athletes over at Del City, and we know that they're going to be able to run with us and stuff like that. So, I just want to see how we compete with them, how we line up, and if we're locked in before the game, like pregame, throughout the practices, and I just want to see how we're able to practice this weekend if we're locked in throughout the week.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to get ready for their offensive line. They're pretty good at pulling. They're pretty good at doing a lot of things. We haven't had a ton of a test up front, so I'm kind of excited to see how that goes. But yeah, just same thing he was saying, that we just need to have a really good week of practice and prepare well.
All right. How did you all feel about this last weekend and being off those 4 days?
Yeah, I mean, it was completely different than what we're used to. We've been kind of used to just rolling through, and we kind of use that momentum all the way through the season. So it is a little weird, but I think it's good. Just get kind of our legs back under us and a little like reset, refresh, kind of rededicate yourself to the process a little bit. So I think it's a really good thing. Either way, it really doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I agree with him. You know, it just allowed us to get our feet back under ourselves. You know, we've been going for so long, and we've been so used to doing it, but just be able to get a little bit of a break in between and be able to hang with our families and stuff to rededicate ourselves to the process was really good for us.
All right, Coach, what do you think about these two guys?
The world.
Yeah.
Both these guys have been unbelievable leaders for us. They've been guys that we've been able to count on through it all for 4 years. It doesn't seem like it's gone fast too. I remember when these guys were both freshmen, and you know, T probably had 28 touchdowns receiving as a freshman on the freshman team, and Caden was doing all kinds of stuff for us just like he does now. And then you know, towards the end of the year, Caden started playing some special teams, and I remember us talking about Trystan, because we that group started giving us a scout look, and Trystan was giving us problems, and Trinae, you know, he had already started doing a little bit for us on varsity, but I remember thinking, you know, this group's going to be a lot of fun to coach. And now, fast forward, it's 4 years later, and obviously with all the success that they've had and everything that you've seen on the field, everybody gets to see that product, you know, but everybody doesn't get to see what they do in the locker room. They don't get to see what they do in the weight room, and just all the time that they put in to put out that product on Friday nights that they do. You know, so it's been a heck of a ride with them, and all we can hope for is that we're going to have at least one more week with them. We've talked about that a bunch this time of year. That's what it's all about, is getting another week with your seniors and making sure that we end this thing on a high note. You know, but these guys have meant the world to Carl Albert football. They've meant the world to the coaches, to the players coming up behind them. Both of these guys are dudes that we could say next year, you know, when young guys like Jackson Webster and Anderson Collier, Bo, Austin, all those young guys, whenever they're coming up, we're going to be able to say, do you remember how Caden approached meetings? Do you remember how Trystan approached practice? Do you remember? We're going to be able to go and say that and use these guys as the examples. And that says a lot about them, because we've had a lot of good football players come through here. But these guys have separated themselves with the way that they have worked and the leadership positions that they put themselves in.
Absolutely. I want to press in on that just a little bit and ask you this question. From your freshman year and to your senior year, how have you seen yourself grow as a part of this program?
I would say just like as a leader, I've become more of a leader on the team, and I feel like, you know, just throughout all the practice and stuff, all the weightlifting, I've just become a lot better of a football player. But having these coaches with me and having them like teaching me how to be a better person overall, it's just been really good to see myself evolve in that form too.
Yeah, I think for myself, just being able to be more vocal with things and let kind of the process of what Carl Albert is, like, let me be more myself through that, just with like talking and being a leader for everybody, and all of the, just like kind of the football knowledge and just being a better person, just like kind of just maturing, I guess, in all facets, really helped me with all the coaches like Coach Dunn, Coach Herbert, Coach Evans, all the guys that mentored me and stuff. I've seen myself become more of a man and be more kind of football smart.
Does it surprise you now when you look down at the freshman class and think, surely I would never like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at them, you're like, no way I was that sometimes immature and stuff like that. But I think it's good to kind of humble yourself a little bit and understand that next year we're going to be the guys that are seniors in college. We're going to be the exact same thing to them. So
Right.
Just trying to understand that and be the best in our role. I think that's the thing that you can take out of it.
Yeah, I look at it kind of the same way. Like I look at them, and I can relate because I remember being a freshman and how I was immature back then. You know, I just try to help them along the process as much as I can, just to help them mature and get understanding. Because I know I didn't understand when they were out the freshman.
For sure.
So I just want to help them as much as I can.
Well, that's good to hear. They are actually in my hallway where my office is, and sometimes I wonder, are those guys ever going to grow up? And so I know that, just 4 years ago you were in that hallway, and so it's exciting to see that. It's exciting to see the maturity happen, and then it just take off. So,
Sure.
Coach Dunn, you got any thoughts on?
Well, as far as that goes, these guys, I can tell you right now, they were different as freshmen.
they were.
Trystan was not he was kind of a no nonsense guy, and I know he cuts up with his buddies and all that, but even out there like practice on the field, you don't really see that very much.
Right.
Trystan was pretty locked in, and Caden, you see it every day. He's got all kinds of stuff going through his head, football wise, during practice. He's looking at every formation. He's calling out plays. He's knowing what they're going to run just based on what look he's getting, and so. And they were geared like that as freshmen too. Caden was a guy. We've told the story before about him blocking the punt his freshman season in the first round of the playoffs. Is that right? So we've told that story before, and both of these guys were they've been easy guys to coach. And we have a lot of guys like that at Carl Albert. This senior class has been like that. They've been an easy group to coach, not just because they're really talented. I mean, it's obviously a very talented group of kids, but they've been great people. They've been great leaders. They've been guys we don't have to worry about where they're at and, why aren't they here? Or they didn't call or whatever. We haven't had to worry about that with these guys. And, even some of them early on when they were younger, by the time that they were freshmen or the end of their freshman year, sophomores, they kind of had all that figured out. And so we've really just been able to coach these guys. We haven't really had to talk about effort or behavior or character and things like that is, the negative side of that. We haven't had to do that. Obviously we're always trying to grow these guys into men, and these guys have made that easy because they've been very responsive and very coachable with all those things, with all the details. And so just been a really fun group to work with. And, these two guys have been right there since day one and been Carl Albert Titans for their whole life. I mean, they grew up in it. They grew up in the elementaries. You were at Swartz, right? Soldier Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Tigers. We're alumni, Tigers for life. But Carl Albert guys that grew up in it and understand exactly what it means to wear the Titans across your chest, and go out there and represent your community, your team, yourself, your families, and your coaches. And they've done an unbelievable job of it.
All right, so last question for you guys. If you could pass one thing down to another player here on this team, and I know this is kind of off the cuff, but if you could pass one thing down to another player on this team, what would it be?
I think just taking it all in. I don't think I did a good enough job throughout my career of really enjoying the moments per se. It's more of just kind of this is what we do and stuff. But now when it's coming to an end, it's a lot easier to be like, man, I really wish I would have enjoyed my sophomore year winning, my junior year winning, and just kind of being more in the moment a little bit. I think I get caught up too much in just the next game. So being able to take it in a little bit more and understanding that, I hope that everybody else younger than me gets that opportunity to take it in a little bit more.
Good word.
Yes, sir. I'll say something along the same lines. Just taking in the moment and doing whatever you can in that moment to get better. Don't skip days. Just do what you can that day to get better, to help your team as much as you can. Because I feel like some days you can be lax a little bit, but I feel like whenever you mature a little bit, you understand that every day counts and is gonna all lead to the process that you want it to be. So I feel like you get as much out of it as you put into it. So that's what I would say.
Absolutely. Good word. Coach, got anything else you want to close with?
Be where your feet are, right? Yeah. These guys, again, just a great group. I couldn't think of, two better guys to put on here today and talk about that process and two guys that I know are going to do everything in their power to make sure that we go finish this year on a high note and do everything that we want to do as a team and go reach that ultimate goal. And obviously this week's a big step in getting to that goal. And I know these guys are going to show up and be the dudes out there. So I'm excited to watch both these guys play a couple more weeks.
Absolutely. Well, we've got one game coming up on Friday, and that will be at Putnam City North Stadium, and it is against the Del City Eagles. We hope that you'll show up there and be ready to cheer on your Titans. This is the reason that we do what we do, and these are the guys that we have watched do it so well for the past 4 years. And thank you guys for being on the show today and for the words of wisdom that you shared, even with those that are coming up under you. And so we'll be back in just a moment to look forward to this semifinal game against the Del City Eagles on your 2024 Carl Albert Titan Coaches Show.
What are you thankful for?
Thankful for this. Thankful for everybody involved with making this happen. Obviously, it takes a village to have this kind of success, be able to do this for 9 years in a row. And it takes the families, the coaches' wives, the coaches' families. It takes all of our kids and their families, and guys like Jared LeClaire doing turkey legs for us over there. Just thankful for the traditions of Carl Albert High School football.
I mean, you look around here, we got all our alumni coming back to POTD. It's a big tradition here, and thankful that we get to do this. You know, this is 9 years in a row, and I mean, that's really, really a unique thing.
Thankful to be here today, practicing with my team, with my family one last time before I head off to OU, and just thankful to be here.
I'm thankful for all my teammates, my coaches, everybody that's made these last 4 years possible. I'm just extra grateful this year. It really puts it in perspective of what this place means the closer to the end it gets. So I'm just grateful for all my teammates and my family.
I'm thankful for this whole team, for my seniors, like Caden Davis. He's taught me a lot. Thankful for these coaches. I'm thankful for Carl Albert.
All right, one more. Turkey or ham?
Ham.
Turkey all the way.
What's the best side?
Stuffing, dressing, whatever you call it. It's the best, for sure.
Turkey. I don't know where you got ham from.
Thankful for my brothers and my family.
Happy Thanksgiving, all you turkeys and turkettes. My mom. Love you, Mom.
My family.
I'm thankful to be playing football. Thanksgiving Day, baby.
Thankful for my parents and everybody, this whole team, CA.
My family and my teammates and everybody that supports me.
I'm gonna say I'm thankful for the Lord, giving me the opportunity to come play football with all my brothers and stuff.
No cap, what he said.
What are you thankful for? God, first of all, my family, these guys, being here since 2008. Coach Rose gave me a chance. Here we are, POTD 2024. Gobble, 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 gobble.
Welcome back to your Carl Albert Titan 2024 Coaches Show. Coach Dunn, those guys have left the room, but you couldn't find two more deserving athletes. Their character is above reproach, and they just play with such heart and passion.
Yeah. Two guys that definitely do everything right. Guys that have put themselves in great position athletically, obviously, to be successful, but there's so much stuff that they do outside of what you see on a Friday night for a couple hours. Just the work that they've put in, the effort they put in day to day, and being really, really good at what they do. Trystan is as good of a big brother as you'll find. His younger brother's a freshman in our program, and Trystan takes care of him, like no other. And
Right.
He's got a sister, and Caden's the same way. Had a sister that came up through here and graduated, I believe, last year, who was an athlete, and both their parents, just unbelievable people. Terry and Lori Davis, and Sean and Tristan's mom, Denise. They're just unbelievable family, unbelievable people. I can't say enough good things about them, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention all of our guys. But
Right.
this entire
Absolutely.
senior class has just been unbelievable. Without those guys here in the room now, and whatever I say to them, I would say about them to anybody who would ask. They're an unbelievable group of kids that have been really, really, really fun to coach. And so you get to these end moments. We talk a lot about there's a lot of last your senior year, and so hopefully we go 2 more weeks. We keep talking about the amount of practices we should have left if we take care of our business. And I know whatever happens, these guys are going to go out and and they're going to do everything in their power to make that happen. And we talk a lot about regrets and not having to have regrets if you prepare the correct way.
Right.
And these guys, they've done that for 4 years.
Right.
They've been preparing for these moments for 4 years. This started a long time ago with them. It's not something that they turned on yesterday or even last week and said, all right, now I got to get ready for a big game. They've turned this on 4 years ago when they got into this program and they've stuck in this program and they've excelled in this program. And so I know they'll be ready to go along with the other seniors.
All right. Coach, we are just a few days away from playing the Del City Eagles, and really, I think most of the people in the state would have said that we were going to face this point at some point. And Del City has run through their schedule. They have one loss to a very good Edmond Memorial High School team, and so they have run up the score on a lot of people. I'm not big into transitive properties things, looking at us playing against somebody else that was close to Claremore and that kind of thing. What I am interested in is looking at what they've done, and they've scored a lot of points. They've had 7 shutouts, so their defense isn't bad either, and they've pretty much held everybody down. So this is a good Del City team that we're about to face. Now, I will go ahead and say it was a really good Del City team we were going to face last year too in the state championship, and we know how that came out. It was a good, well-fought game, but we can't look back to that and say that's what's going to happen.
Right.
So give us an idea of what you see and how you see us preparing for that and getting ready.
Right. Well, like you said, every year's a new year. Every team's a new team. It doesn't matter what you have coming back from the year before, what you don't have coming back, and it doesn't matter what they have coming back or what they don't. None of that matters. It's all about the matchup on Friday night.
Right.
And when you start looking into, well, they scored this many points versus this team, we scored this many, and they allowed this, and we allowed this. Mm-hmm. It's all about matchups. Every game is going to be different depending on styles, depending on coaches, depending on the hidden things in game that happen, and little small decisions here and there. And it's a game of inches. I know that's cliche, but it really is a game of inches. Yeah. And so you can't really look into that. It's all about whatever happens on Friday night. And Del City is very well coached, very good athletes all over the field. They're very tough. They're a physical, hard-nosed football team. It's a lot like watching us play. That's what they remind me of, and I know Coach Jones probably saying the same thing to his guys, that it's a game of matchups, and you're gonna have to go out and play and win your individual matchups and play really well as a team, play clean football, and they've got 2 quarterbacks that they're playing right now, and both are talented kids. One's a sophomore, one's a freshman. Both are really, really good players, especially for young guys. They're surrounded by upperclassmen.
Right.
They've got a couple of senior wide receivers, a couple of junior wide receivers that are really good. Running back, they've got a stable of guys with number 4 is a younger guy, but he's not a younger guy, but he's not a guy that's as known as some of the other ones, but he's a really, really good runner, quick, fast. Mm-hmm. Ricklin Holmes, everybody knows about Ricklin, really good player. Caleb Blackwolf is a kid that moved in from El Reno that was arguably one of their best players there last year at El Reno, and now he's at Del City doing good things for them on both sides of the ball. And people don't talk enough about their offensive line. Caden said it.
Right.
Their offensive line is really good. They're big. They're physical. They know what they're doing. They're well coached. And so it's going to be a well of a game. Their linebacker crew. Ricklin's kind of the mainstay, but they've got 2 guys, 25 and 23, that are both playing really, really high level of football right now, and then their defensive line's a lot of the same guys from last year that are really talented and have caused problems for everybody they've played all year long. 54 is one of their guys. It's a 2-way offensive defensive lineman kid, and he's talented. He's a really good player, strong. You can tell that he has been in the weight room quite a bit, and that's another thing that we know about them is that Coach Jones and his guys, they do a really good job of making sure their guys are going to be strong. They're going to be built to last. They're going to play 4 quarters, and it's going to be a dogfight, And so it's one of those games that we haven't had a whole lot of back and forth this year, and it's going to be a game that's going to be back and forth. And so we've got to be ready for that 4-quarter football game. And last week we got a little bit more of that, or 2 weeks ago with Claremore. But this is going to be this will be the toughest test to date for this football team. And I know our guys will be up for it, but I know that their guys are going to be up for it as well. So it'll be exactly what you want out of a really good, well-matched high school football game.
All right. Putnam City North at 7 p.m. on Friday evening. I want to share a little bit. You'll have to watch it if you're going to see the video on the NFHS network, and the Carl Albert Titan network on the Oklahoma Sports Network will be doing audio. So Coach Goff and I will be doing audio only for that. So we'd like for you to listen if you'd like to do that as well. Coach, looking ahead a little bit further, not that we don't ask the players to ever do that, but it's going to be a good matchup between Newcastle and Guthrie as well.
Right. Yeah. That's an interesting matchup. Two teams that there's a lot of style similarities between the two. I think Guthrie, it's no secret, Coach Beebe, he's going to be loud about it. They're going to run the football and they're going to stop the run.
Right.
That's his thing, and that's what wins in November and December, and so he's not going to shy away from that. And Newcastle, I think, is a little more balanced maybe offensively. They're a little bit more run pass, and but I think that's going to be a knockdown drag out. I think you got the two best teams up there on that side of the bracket. I think made it through. One's a district champion and one was the second place team, but I think it kind of shook out like I thought it might. And I don't know if this is something to be proud of, but 4 teams that are playing in the semifinals that are all West Side teams.
Right.
Teams that aren't real far from each other, 40 minutes, at the most from each other, and 4 really talented football teams, and four teams that are really well coached. So you get to this point of the year, you're going to have teams that are well coached, teams that are disciplined, teams that have really good players. No coach is going to ever, if they do, they're lying. But you got to have good football players to get to this point. But I think that's a really interesting matchup between those two, and I think it'll be a really good football game, just like ours will.
All right. We've got the Dell City Eagles and the Carl Albert Titans state champion game from last year, and here in the semifinals. Can you give us any kind of an idea of, with all of the district matchups that changed and moved around, it put us in the semifinal instead of in the final.
Right.
And I've just been watching a lot of message boards and those kind of things, and on X. A lot of people didn't want to see a Mid-Dell final again. At least that's what they're saying.
Sure.
So
yeah, I don't know. I wasn't in the East Side meeting, so I don't know exactly how that all went down. The year before, Dell City's in 5A3.
Right.
We were still in 5A2, like we've been in forever, and so we matched up in the finals. Dell City was moved to 5A4. Basically, Booker T came down from 6A2. They put Booker T in 5A3, and they put Dell City in 5A4. I know Coach Jones wanted to make sure he had a non-district game set up with Booker T.
Right.
So he wanted to keep that game. It's hard for Dell City to get games, just like it's hard for us to get games. And so he wanted to keep that game. And so as long as they were separated, I don't think he was worried about it. And we all the coaches had talked about a lot of those different kind of scenarios. Coach Jones and I are just not those kind of people. He and I go way back. We're cut from the same cloth. We graduated from this program under Coach Rose, and you play good teams in the playoffs. It doesn't matter when you play them. You're going to have to beat good teams if you want to go and win state championships. And so we didn't look at it like, okay, we need to make sure that you're in this one and we're in this one. That way we can stay separated. We don't look at it like that, and I don't know that anybody did. I don't know if any coaches did. It certainly wasn't the OSSAA. I've seen people say stuff about the OSSAA.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with the OSSAA. The OSSAA does a good job of taking the recommendations of the OFBCA, the Football Coaches Association, and then putting that into play. As long as it makes sense and they get enough people signing off on it.
Right.
That's what they just kind of take the advice of the OFBCA on those districts. And so OSSAA had nothing to do with it. I don't think coaches look at it, any differently than me and Coach Jones, but I do know that Coach Jones and I never looked at that and said, hey, wait a minute, we need to make sure that we stay in these districts.
Right,
that way, if
right.
we don't match up at this time, I mean, he's going to feel just like I do. He's thankful to be playing in the state semifinals. He's
Exactly.
thankful to have the chance to go make it to a state championship again. And regardless whether it was this week or was the next week, it's going to be the same big time ball game.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody has to go home a week earlier, that's just what it is, But I know that that's not something that he's hung up on. It's not something that I'm hung up on, or our team or their team, and it's just part of it. You gotta win big games and beat good teams if you're going to go and win a state championship. So it doesn't matter if that's the first round or it's the state championship.
Mm-hmm.
Just how it goes.
All right, so you led on to it, so I'm going to go ahead and ask the question. How much are you and Robert Jones talking this week?
We've text back and forth, and if people could see some of the text messages that he and I send to each other, and if he sees it, he'll laugh. But I shot him a text message, I guess 2 nights ago. Because we live right down the street from each other too. So I'll drive by his house and see him, and so I sent him a funny message the other night, and he sent one back, and so it's. This is where he's from.
Right. You got to go way back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I coached over there for 4 years, and there's not a team that I want to see be more successful other than this one.
Right.
Than Del City.
Exactly.
And Coach Jones feels the same way about his alma mater. Does he want to beat Carl Albert? 100%. When I
Right.
was at Del City, did I want to beat Carl Albert? 100%. It's just how we're built.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we learn from Coach Rose. It's just how we're gauged. But at the end of the day, is there any love lost over it? Absolutely not.
Right.
If whatever happens on Saturday, it's going to be right back to, that's one of my best friends in the world, and a guy that I would do anything for, and it's no different for him.
Right.
I could call him if I needed something. If I needed help burying a body, he would help me. I know that to my core, and so. It's just funny. We saw somebody on Twitter say something about it's personal between these two guys or something like that.
I saw that.
And both of us are texting each other and sending those messages and just laughing about it, but that's fine if that's what helps build it up and that gets people in the stands, whatever. These kids deserve to have a great atmosphere, and just like last year, that was a big thing for us. People wanted us to do some stuff together, and we just wanted to make sure that it was about the kids, and the
Right.
focus was on our kids, because our kids are the ones that deserve for all of that, all the talk and all the pregame and all the hype and all that. It needs to be about all the great matchups in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Their wide receivers versus our DBs, vice versa. Their O-line versus our D-line, their D-line versus our O-line, all those, all the things that are going to be in-game stuff that for the casual football fan, and then your passionate Carl Albert Del City fans, it's going to be really fun to watch, and so it's going to be just all in all. We've talked, Coach Jones and I have talked,
Sure.
and we've texted back and forth, and about the same as we do normally. It's really no different this week, and on Friday we'll shake hands, talk for a second, give each other a hug, and then we'll go to war for a couple hours, and then we'll talk again after. So
Yeah. Well, it's always an exciting time when you get together and you're talking together with other coaches from around the state, and a lot of this and that going on. There's a coach that I've coached with or coached against for the past 15 years, and one of the lines that she uses is, it's hard to believe we put our careers in the hand of 15 through 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what we do, and it's about them. It's not about us. And so it's good that we have the opportunity to get together, just as you said, 2 programs in our district that are absolutely at the top of their game and coached the right way, brought up the kids in the right way, and now we get to go out and show what we have on Friday night at Putnam City North. Coach, at the end of the game, in the Claremore game, one of the things that was very, very special on the field after everybody had done their work, you were down there with the guys and you were talking to the guys, and then your wife stepped up and she had a banner. It was your 75th career victory. And so tell us a little bit about that and how special that was.
Yeah, well, I wasn't real sure that wasn't, or I had no clue that was going to happen. I didn't even know that was even the number. I had no clue. I think this past summer we were at the All-State game and coaches were getting their plaque. You get a plaque, head coaches do, when you get to 75 wins. They give you a state of Oklahoma and it has 75 career wins on it, and it's a pretty cool deal. And so I know my wife this summer asked me about it, and I can't remember if we were on our way out to the lake, and I think she may have looked up the number or something, and so she obviously remembered that. My wife, she's probably way more than I deserve, but so I had no clue that was going to happen. I didn't know what they had planned with that, and so it was a surprise, kind of a shock to me. But those moments it's a lot more about the people you've surrounded yourself with, and obviously I've got great support from my family. My mom and dad have been there every step of the way. Michelle and Andy for the last 7 years now. And then, Harrison is 4 years old now. And so I've got a great family, and, the coaches that I've had around me. Obviously, a lot of those wins also came at Del City, my 4 years there. And you can't do those things unless you have really, really, really good coaches around you, and you have really, really good players. And we had both of those at Del City, but also at Del City, we had great admin support. Mid-Del, upper admin has always been great, but at Del City, our principals, our counselors there, Gina Hill is as good as they come, and she's retired now and living her best life. But, Gina Hill was the one that gave me an opportunity and then surrounded me with really good people, and she had a great administrative staff. With Steve Gillen, who's the principal now, unbelievable. Big Phil, there's just so many good assistant principals that have gone through there. Amanda Stansberry is another one. John Bernadello, just that entire crew over there was just second to none, and great people. And so I was anytime that something like that happens, it's because of those people. Over at Carl Albert, I've gotten to win some games over here, and again, that credit is all due to an unbelievable coaching staff, a group of kids that buy into everything that we sell and everything we preach, and then our administration here, second to none. I've been very, very blessed to have Gina Hill and her staff, and now Kristen Goggins, and everything that she puts into athletics and puts into her people, and she pours nothing but support into all of our athletic programs, and all of our assistant principals. James Wirchin, all in. Josh Terry, former coach, all in. Dr. Kaylin Cole, my wife, Michelle Dunn. We're very, very blessed. All of our counselors that do so much for our kids. And so anytime something like that happens, obviously it's because you have surrounded yourself with really good people. And I think, those wins are just a byproduct of being surrounded by people that, A, they know what to do, but B, you let them run with it.
Right.
That's something that Kristen Goggins always says, that you hire thoroughbreds to let them run, and Gina Hill was the same way. You hire good people, and then you give them support and you let them run with it. And, on my end, it's the same thing with our assistant coaches. It's the same thing with our players. We put them in a good situation to go be successful, but they got to run with it.
That's right.
And our kids do it, and our kids at Del City did the same thing. So, just blessed to have really good people around me and really good support staff around me and great family.
It just reminds me that when we talk about home of champions, we're not just talking about the students either and just the athletics. We're talking about the home of champions in regard to academics and band, and even the home of champions in regard to our faculty and staff and coaches and everyone around, is that we're all a part of that home of champions. And you don't get there by not working hard,
right?
And being just a great group of people that are all pulling for each other.
Yeah.
We want to remind you that you'll be there at Putnam City North at 7 o'clock. Get there early so you have good parking, and there's going to be a couple of basketball games that night, we hear, so the parking's going to be a little bit tight. Make sure you get there early, cheer on the Titans, and we'll be back next week with the 2024 Carl Albert Titan Coaches Show.